Hi, this is James Melendez, James, a wine guy, and in this video I'm going to talk about my wine rating system. Now, I've written about it before, and I have not talked about it. Well, actually I have, but it's embedded in wine reviews, and I thought it's really important to just bring that out to the forefront and to talk about that just a little bit. Now, there are rating systems that are a 100-point scale, so it's like a grade school. Everything to 100 points, so anything, say, in the 90 category is, say, 92 is an A minus, 95 is an A, 98 is an A plus. Now that's really okay, however, it's really just, the numbers just happen to follow successively next to each other. That is, an 89 is next to a 90 is next to a 91. But what does that really mean? So I've really tried to take that apart and say, I'm not going to follow that particular number system because I think there's a preconceived notion from the very beginning what that means to what I mean. Now I tinkered around with all sorts of rating system that is like a star system, 5 stars, 4 stars, etc. But it just didn't seem to convey any sort of significance that someone might say, well, oh, I thought it was a 6-star system. Well, I think the number system is pretty clear. So the 10 for me is the highest. And I say that consistently so that people get used to that. So I had somebody ask me, is it a 20-point scale? My review I gave was like, I don't know, for this particular wine was an 89 or 90. And the question was, oh, that's good, but was it on a 20-point scale? The answer is no, it was a 10.0 scale. So I'm being very careful with that. I also view it as a logarithm. So for me, my score is at any successive tenth of a number, so 8.9, 9.0, 9.1, each successive number is more difficult to attain. So I try to take that carefully, and I've observed, I reviewed my reviews because I wanted to see where I was. I thought, I wonder if my numbers are too high or too low, or sure, there's a bell curve going on here, and why wouldn't there be? But I thought, I'm going to take a look at that. So I did up this little graph here and to show you where I am. So I have very few in the 8.0 category, and the average number is 8.91302720 as of July 30th, 2011, and it goes all the way to 9.7. So I've never given anything above a 9.7, and if you're wondering what that one wine is in a 9.7, it's Bollinger's Grand Année 1990. So it was an exquisitely gorgeous wine, and it was one of those where I did realize the wine that I was drinking, should I open it up, should I save it? And I just opened it up, and I opened it up about 5 to 6 years ago. It was a good decision. It was right at its prime. So I think, some people ask me, well, why do you even have a wine rating system? And I say simply, well, because you want to discover, if you have 100 Zinfandels, for example, or 100 Cabernets, which one is better than another? Because they're not going to be equivalent. There's going to be differences. And so I try to not just give numbers, but to give them descriptors. So this wine, A, is not as good as B, but C is better than all 3 of these wines. I think that's a defining point. You can't have all these wines. You can't, drink all these wines you want to drink. But if you're going to single a few out, or at least carve in and figure out what is it you really want. You really want an excellent Torrontés. You want a beautiful Tempranillo from Rioja. You want a beautiful Lagrein from Italy. So how are you going to decide what there is? And in the wine category, there's so many wines. So I think there's a bona fide reason for having a wine rating system. So no apologies for me, but I do take it very seriously because I realize that there are people behind the labels. And I'm not going to pull a specific label up because I don't want to pinpoint that label and put that up before examination. And that's why I just brought out these glasses to give that more demonstrative feel. I really take it seriously because there are people behind this. There are a winemaker, there's a family behind it, there's a group of people who are employed by working at this winery, at this brand, at this label. And I really want to be extremely careful, judicious. I want to be just balancing out things very well. And I don't want to over-calculate and give a number that's just not realistic based on what it is. Now, I had friends say, well, why don't you just have a point system where you add things up and give a certain number of points for this, that, or the other. And when you really look at that, that's a really hard thing to do because you can't compare maybe a feature of an area and say that all wines are going to be compared against that. In some ways, they have to be compared in the wines in that region, in that varietal, and maybe sometimes just for that maker of wine. So it's just coming up with this formulation. And I feel good about that. I think I'm at about 2,800 published reviews in and getting close to the 3,000 number. I'm going to continue to publish reviews of my own self because I think that's the only way that you can really bring, I think, that valid point, that authenticity. So for more reviews, please go to jamesthewineguy.com. Please subscribe to my videos on YouTube. If you have any comments on my review system, let me know. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter. Please follow, please subscribe. Salud.